People who follow Hitler's ideology, people who follow Mussolini's ideology are dead and buried, they're wrong. And they used rape as a weapon against a 12-year-old Jewish girl. This poor girl probably does not even know where Palestine is. You don't burn your own house because you want to give light to others. That's not how it works. Jai Hind friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Friends, a long time ago, it would be 12 months or 13 months ago, I had predicted the rise of the far right in Europe. And I have said it in more than 20-25 videos. Whether it's the Chanakya Dialogues Hindi, the Chanakya Dialogues English or Majorly Right, I must have said it about 24 times that the rise of the far right is imminent. Nobody can stop the rise of the far right. And I also said the day is not far when fascist forces will rise again. Those forces are not dead. If anybody is under the mistaken assumption that people who follow Hitler's ideology, people who follow Mussolini's ideology are dead and buried, they're wrong. The tectonic plates of Europe's politics are constantly shifting. And I think the maximum amount of stress has been put by illegal immigration. Today we are going to discuss this and I will tell you what has happened in Europe. It's very unfortunate. A 12-year-old Jewish girl was raped by an immigrant and there is a lot of anger. But that happened now. If you rewind to what happened a year back, thousands of automobiles in France were burnt by illegal immigrants. Hundreds of houses were torched. A church was burned down. Shopping malls and shops were looted. People were beaten up. All because one Moroccan man was shot fatally by the French police. And that is the problem when you have immigrants coming into your country from nations that are inherently unstable. So nations that are inherently unstable will produce a population that is inherently unstable. Nations, that have a very high degree of radicalization will produce radicals. A lot of people say that what I am saying would amount to Islamophobia, but that's not true, ladies and gentlemen, and allow me to expand, and then I'll get to the news. There are countries like Saudi Arabia, there are countries like the UAE, there are countries like Indonesia. Indonesia is the largest Muslim country in the world, the most populous. And Saudi Arabia and the UAE are the richest Muslim nations. And I've had the honor and privilege to speak to the people, the residents of these countries, Arabs and Indonesians alike. And they come across as very sane people. They come across as very mature people. They come across as very hospitable people. There are certain countries who suffer from schizophrenia. Countries like Yemen, countries like Pakistan, countries like Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, Morocco. When you have people or immigrants from these kind of countries, and there are many, many more, you have to understand that all these illegal immigrants who come into Europe, are essentially from nations that are inherently unstable. You cannot expect mental stability from such people now. Look what has happened. Rape of a 12-year-old Jewish girl in an anti-Semitic attack has sent shockwaves throughout France and thrust concerns about anti-Semitism to the forefront of campaigning for the country's legislative elections. The anti-immigration national rally. So there is a party called the National Rally, leads in pre-election polls, winning the 2 rounds of elections ending July 7th, could make it the first far-right party to lead France since the Nazi occupation. So we're talking pre-1945, Nazi occupation. 45 was the end of World War II. So after that, this is going to be the first far-right party who would sort of, form the government in France. Far-left figures, meanwhile, have faced accusations of anti-Semitism linked to their response to Hamas' October 7th attack on Israel and the ensuing war. And concerns surged about two boys in a Paris suburb were preliminarily charged with raping a 12-year-old Jewish girl and religiously motivated violence. Prosecutors said lawyer Eli Korchia mentioned the word Palestine was used during the attack. Here it is. So, these perpetrators, the guilty, were two men or two boys, because they're using the word boys because they are under 18, they are not yet adults, and they used rape as a weapon against a 12-year-old Jewish girl. This poor girl probably does not even know where Palestine is. She's a child. They raped a child and constantly mentioned the word Palestine to her. I have always maintained that what Europe needs, in all the nations across Europe, is not the leftists' government. Because if you have leftist government in Europe, in any country, they are the first people who will open the doors to illegal immigration, and you're going to have radical Islamists from all these countries. There are places in UK where white people cannot enter. There are Sharia zones in the UK. There are zones in Canada where nobody wants to go. It's so heavily populated with people from certain Islamic countries. And, I think Europe, if Europe has to be stopped from falling, the far right needs to step in. And I support them in this. I may disagree with some of their policies, but the fact is that you need people like Geert Wilders in Europe. Otherwise, Europe will go down the drain. And France, home to Europe's largest Jewish and Muslim population, faces renewed anti-Semitic and anti-Muslim acts. Politicians reacted swiftly to the recent attack amidst rising anti-Semitic incidents since the Israel-Hamas war began. So, Hamas attacks Israel, Israel heads back. And thousands of kilometers away, a 12-year-old Jewish girl is raped by two immigrants because apparently this girl is somehow responsible for Israel's actions. French Prime Minister Gabriel Attal, he was very blunt and he said the girl was raped because she is Jewish. This is what the French Prime Minister said. The girl was raped because she's Jewish. And that's the only crime. She was born to Jewish parents, so there it is. The alleged rape has intensified concerns about anti-Semitism ahead of France's June 30 and July 7 elections. Now, you see, all this is happening in France, but there is another analysis from the European Union, which is very important, ladies and gentlemen. They're saying that EU elections saw far-right gains but no landslides. So, essentially what is happening is that 5 years back, there was no tilt towards the far right. Few years back, 4 years back, there was no tilt towards the far right. Now we see in many European countries, far right people being the largest party, even if they are not the absolute majority. The Prime Minister of Italy is a far right leader, by the way, Meloni. She's a far right leader. And this election, this European Union analysis, they're saying that angry Europeans are voting for right-wing parties. Migration is out of favor. Le Pen can be France's president. Le Pen should be France's president. The elections have impacted France, Germany, and Italy, weakening Macron and Scholz while solidifying Italy's right-wing government. If right-wing trends continue, they could significantly influence EU policies more than the EU Parliament itself. Hardening of immigration policies are expected as most parties push for tighter controls, reflecting shifting public opinion. Economic fears, security concerns, and dissatisfaction with the perceived elitist policies are driving voters to the right. Germany's new left-wing Sahara Wagenknecht alliance shows potential to attract disillusioned voters. EU faces debates on identity, enlargement, the Ukraine war, and potential. First of all, I'd like to tell Europe, congratulations. At least now you're making some sense. Secondly, I'd like to tell Europe that, selfish though it may sound, you don't burn your own house because you want to give light to others. That's not how it works. You see? So I don't know why countries like Germany, for example. Now, Germany I can understand because Germany has had a very horrid past, and they somehow think that by doing all this nonsense, they are making up for what the Nazis did or what Adolf Hitler did. No, you're not. You're simply making the other Germans, who were not even born when Hitler was there, they were not even born, you're just making their lives miserable. Why should they pay for something that Hitler did? Now, Hitler was perhaps the most evil man ever born on planet Earth. Perhaps the most evil man. But modern day Germany is inflicting this pain on itself. I'm talking about Germany. Let me talk about, UK. Let me talk about France. If there is an immigrant, first of all, from a country that is unstable, thousands of kilometers away, even at the cost of sounding slightly selfish, let me say this. It's not your problem. It is simply not your problem. If you have to have, for example, 10,000, let's say your annual quota for immigrants is 10,000. And let's say we're talking about France, we're talking about Germany or the UK. Now, so many people want to come and settle in these countries. Why? Because it offers stability, it offers democracy, it offers a certain standard of living, economic opportunity, all of that. But then you come into this democracy which offers you economic opportunity, and then you want to, say that we will have Sharia in England. You want Sharia in England, you want Sharia in Germany, you want Sharia in France. You already had Sharia in the country from which you ran away. Why do you want Sharia here? If you want Sharia, you should go to Afghanistan. Afghanistan is the ideal Sharia model, the Taliban. That is how Sharia is. And they are the best and the purest practitioners of the Sharia. But no, you want to run away from there and make sure that England is Sharia compliant. Obviously, it's going to happen in England also. This I predicted last year, 1 year back. Again, I'm telling you, this far-right parties will come to power. If not now, because England is always slow to learn its lessons, if not now, then 5 years from now. By 2030, you will see the rise of the far-right in the UK. There are people who are already fighting, people from the far-right who are fighting, and they are not wrong. They're absolutely not wrong. I stand with them because if you want UK to survive, if you want Europe to survive, you have to throw out these illegal immigrants. And I support what Rishi Sunak did, put them on a plane, send them to Rwanda. Don't allow like wounds, they will fester. They will burn your country to the ground like they burnt France to the ground. They will destroy your countries. You should say that, okay, we have a quota of 10,000, for example, 10,000. You should say, okay, out of these 10,000, we are going to give citizenship of the UK, for example. We need 2,000 doctors. We need the best doctors in the world. Well, let me give you the example of India. You say, okay, you're a doctor. Which college are you from? Are you from the All India Institute of Medical Sciences? Where have you studied? Okay, you've studied from here. Where all have you, done your specialization from? How many years of experience do you have? Do you have international exposure? Okay, right. We think you're a good candidate and you're going to be, doing something positive for the UK. Welcome to the United Kingdom. And you give him citizenship. The second guy, okay, what were you doing? Okay, you're an engineer, you're from IIT. And what were you doing after you passed out? He says, sir, I was working for Google. And for the past 7-8 years, I've been working for Google. And I was in this AI team of Google and I've designed this software. Okay, welcome to the UK. This is what you should do, person by person. Take the finest and the best talent from across the world into your country and get them to settle down, and then favor them or give them money or give them citizenship, whatever you wish to do, whatever your policy is, I don't know. But what you have been doing is telling random people come invade. Very soon Europe will stop looking like Europe. People already make fun of London saying it is Londonistan because it is full of Pakistanis here. It's full of Pakistanis. The last place that was full of Pakistanis which sank was Pakistan. I mean, Pakistan is full of Pakistanis. And look where it has gotten Pakistan. So tomorrow if UK is full of Pakistanis, it will go the Pakistan way. Because it is that human resource that does everything, good or bad. So ladies and gentlemen, very, very sad to see how a 12-year-old child was raped by people who, while in that heinous act, mention Palestine again and again. You know, France needs to understand what kind of human rubbish they're letting into their own country. It is still not too late. Take corrective measures today. Throw these people out, right? Throw these people out. You can throw them wherever. They can go back to the country of their origin, or you can send them to any other place, any third world country which is willing to accept them. They are not your responsibility. The French people are your responsibility. Don't let garbage in. The tradition is you collect garbage from home and then you go to a common dustbin and you throw garbage into that common dustbin. That is human tradition. That is civic sense. Civic sense is not that you go to that garbage bin outside, you take garbage from there and bring it inside your house. This is what France and UK have been doing for a long time, and which is why these countries are suffering. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for the question and answers. The first question is Dr. Hosamene Prabhakar. Hi, Mr. Arya. You'll probably remember when George Bush Sr. visited USSR and talked about Ukraine, he said that the status of Ukraine will be similar to Quebec in Canada. I'm not aware of this. Sorry. Is that what it is now? Be honest. My friend, why would I be dishonest? I'm neither from Canada, nor Ukraine, nor Russia. And neither am I George Bush Sr. So yes, I'll be honest. And the honest answer is I don't know. Because whatever George Bush said, Canada is not invading Quebec, capturing their territory or killing their population. So yeah, Bush was wrong. Infinity 1182, he says, the great America will never ever want any war to stop completely in any part of the world. It is their favorite industry of control and profit. Sir, I agree with you, but what's the question? There is no question. I request you to please send questions. But yes, what you have said is right. I agree with you. Okay. Sri Sai Kapilo. I'm sorry here. This name is just too long, but the suffix is 8373. You know who you are, and I sort of know who you are, so I'm sorry. Good morning, sir. What is your opinion on India buying old USA F-18s? Do you think India should buy F-18s or any other fighter jet from USA? Because USA is known to produce some of the finest weapons in the world, or should India buy Su-30 from Russia? F-18 Super Hornets came to India for testing for aircraft carriers, and the contract is being given to Rafale M, the Marine version, the Navy version of Rafale. In fact, the Dassault aviation team is in New Delhi and they are negotiating the price. 26 Rafales will be bought. I don't know where you got this news that India is buying F-18s. India is not buying F-18s. RT Artemis 5752. Duplicity of USA we Indians understand, but what about our government who support Palestine? I need to ask you, Major, whether USA support Israel or doesn't it? Doesn't matter for us, but our government supporting that country who think that Kashmir is part of Pakistan or free. So after compiling everything, I feel our government must have a strong stand. We have a strong stand. The government of India supports nobody. See, we have a very different kind of diplomatic or foreign policy philosophy, and it is called strategic autonomy. And strategic autonomy says that we do whatever we think is best for India, and we are free to do so. So the government of India says that yes, we are great friends with Israel, but we also have good relations with Palestine. Right? We have relations with a lot of countries. Why only Palestine? We have relations with a lot of countries. Look at China. Look at China. Today, China is building, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor actually enters through Gilgit-Baltistan and POK. And that is Indian area. That is Indian area, which has been illegally occupied by the Pakistani clowns. And we have to throw them out, kick them out. But the fact of the matter is, the Pakistanis have allowed the Chinese to use the Gilgit-Baltistan land and the POK land. And our annual trade with China is $125 billion. Geopolitics is very confusing. Thank you very much for watching this video, ladies and gentlemen. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our channel, don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata ki Jai.